Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to Sexy T TV. Basically, this is part 3 of my how to get your MMC credentials. So if you're just joining in, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. If this is your first time ever seeing any of these videos, please go back. You need to watch video 1 and video 2. Because this is now video 3, so you can understand. But hey, if you want to jump in here, if you've seen enough of some part 1s, part 2s, if you just want to hear like the ending, what's really good, you're in the right place. Follow, like, and subscribe, okay? So basically in part 1 and part 2, we were going over the CG719B. We also went over the TWIC card. We also went over obtaining your passport, because those are some of the things you'll need. Another thing you'll need with obtaining your MMC, you're going to need your medical certificate, which is your CG719K. With obtaining that, first I'm going to show you the forms. I actually don't have them printed out like I did the other forms. So basically you're going to go to, it's going to be on the same site, doc.uscg.mil. And I can show you from my other phone kind of how the form looks. It pretty much kind of looks like what we had for the, it kind of looks like this. It kind of looks like the same. They all kind of like the same format. So make sure you know which ones you're signing and don't get them confused. I looked over them so many times, I almost memorized them by heart. I knew how many pages each application, parts of the application had. That's pretty much like, I pretty much went over it like 5 times or more. Let's be honest. But a lot of them, they'll tell you like here, like this is the CG719B. So we are now on the medical form. So you want to get your medical certificate. In order to obtain your MMC, you have to have a I guess you have to get the medical certificate. You can send all these off together, or it's a separate website now, post-pandemic. It's a separate email you can send just for your certificate. But it all goes hand in hand. You have to have this. And on your 719B or on your MMC application, you also want to make sure that you put in section 3, where it says request for Coast Guard credentials, you want to make sure in that part you put you want a 2-year certificate there. Now, moving on, we're going to stay on the medical form. Now, basically, it's 10 pages. So let's take a sip, because my throat's going to get dry. 10 pages. Okay. Basically, it's going to tell you everything in the instruction pages. Okay. And then on each page, you always want to remember that you want to put your name. You want to put your last name, first name, and middle initial on everything. And then it's places for the doctor to sign. Basically, the first 2 pages are kind of going over instructions about how you're going to fill it out and taking it to your provider. Page 3 is where you're going to start putting in your general information, which is just like the first. If you watch part 2, we're going over the MMC application. Is very similar to that. Don't leave anything blank. Put names on things you don't have. In section 1. Also in section 1, it's going to say endorsement held or sought. You want to make sure that you definitely want to put entry level. If this is your first time ever applying, you want to put entry level. And then you also want to make sure you check STCW, because eventually that's what you're going to obtain. If you're going with the shop for the long haul, whether if you're going to CSU, or whether you're going to go the MSC route, or whatever you're going to do, because there's so many different routes that I just figured out. You want to make sure you check that. And of course, you want to make sure on the section 2, where it's the food handler certification, that your medical provider initials and signs there that you do not have any communicable diseases, because you want to make sure that part is handled, because that is an entry-level position. And so you don't want to not be able to do an entry-level position that you may interest you later. So you want to have that checked off. Basically, the next few pages, page 4, only thing you're really going to be doing is make sure at the top of every page, I'm sorry guys, on the top of every page that you make sure you put your name and your date of birth. At the top of every page is going to have that, and you want to put it in the format. It tells you last name, first name, middle initial. Basically on that, you're just checking off what conditions you have and what you do and don't have, and that's it. Then the provider, they have to initial that page. Then the next page, we're going to page 5, it just is basically for the provider as well. You just putting your name at the top. Easy peasy, 1, 2, 3 easy. Name and date of birth at the top of every page. And then the provider is just going to, anything that you put yes to, they're going to explain it and maybe have an attached form documenting it. Maybe if you have some type of something going on that you take medication for, and they attach like why you're taking medicine or something like that, or rather. And we're going to go to page 6, which is basically your medication list. Again, what do you do at the top? Last name, first name, middle initial, and date of birth. It asks you, do you currently use any medications, prescription or non-prescription? Anything you take, just put it there. Yes, if you take a Tylenol for a headache, put yes and put the Tylenol down there. And I'm just telling you, always, always, always be honest, because I feel like, let's say in the event you're on the ship, and then you may have some Tylenol in your pocket, and you may not be in a bottle, and they're looking like, what is this? You know, even though it's over the counter, it does not matter. You didn't say you take. I just feel like that. I feel like, no, I put my vitamins. I take vitamin B12. I take vitamin C. I put all of that up there. Just put it up there. It doesn't matter. The doctor is going to then write over the counter on their little part, sign, and keep on moving. At the bottom of that same form where your medications are, when you're getting your physical done, when you're taking this to a provider, I'm sorry, y'all can't see that. They're going to then write in like your blood pressure, your pulse, your body mass index. They're going to go over different things on your body. So we're going to stop there on page 6 of 10. So I'm stopping there to let you know that most of this you don't really fill out. You just make sure you fill out that top part, and you fill out your history and your medications. We'll go on to the rest shortly. You're going to be taking this to, either you can take it to your doctor's office or you can take it to urgent care. I got mine done at an urgent care. The cost is about $150, because along with this medical certification, CG719B. That's the one I did. I did B. There is another one, I think, KE, 719KE, if I'm not mistaken. Or it could be 719BE or something of that ramification. It's just another mariner's merchant mariner's credentials, basically physical form, but it's more so, they say it's more so like for just entry level. It just entails something for the doctor to sign that you don't have any communicable diseases. But to me, it was very basic, which may leave you like in an area where you only can do certain things, and I didn't want to be like in that area to just do just that. So I felt like, okay, well, this one looks more in depth. Like I said, we're on page 6. And on the other one, it was like 5 pages, and it just was those few things. So again, you can go to any provider you want, your own provider. But if you're going to do the full form, I suggest you invest the money and go to an urgent care, because the full form, you have to do a hearing test. A lot of places don't have the hearing test. A lot of them don't have the vision test. I'm not talking about the regular 20 feet vision board with the big letters and they get smaller and smaller. No, they have to take color test and other different tests. Okay, so as we move on, we're going on to page 6. So after that is where you get into your eye exam. So again, on the first, on the other medical certificate, it doesn't have all this in depth. And I felt like that would just put me in a basic entry level state. I do want to get a 2-year medical cert. So I felt like I probably won't get it with just that basic one, or it might just keep me in just food handling, or I might can't do this, or might can't do that, or I'm gonna have to pay and get a whole nother physical in the next year, or maybe right again, because they're gonna say this is not enough for what I want to do. So as you go on to page 7, Only urgent cares or certain doctor's offices that have this capability can do this, because it acts not only like 20/20 vision, it's then also it's visual in section A. Excuse me, section, this is section 6, part A. It's the regular 20/20 left, right eye. Do you wear glasses? Things of that nature. But then part B of this section goes into the color vision, and it's it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 9, 10 different color vision test palettes that they can test you on. And the reason why they have so many is because different offices have different ones. This office may just have the HRR PIP. This office may just have the OAC. These are different type of tests, so they write down what you made and things of that nature. The Coast Guard can go back and say, okay, they took this particular eye test, and this is, color test. So after the color test, then there's a hearing test. So now we're at section 7 on page 7. It's a hearing test. All this, again, your provider and your medical assistant, they're going to be putting in your vitals. They're going to be administering the eye color and regular eye test. They're also going to be administering the hearing test. And you don't write anything. The provider will come in after them and sign all these forms. Next is on page 8. Basically, this is just some demonstrations of physical ability that the medical provider is going to go over with you. So again, guess what? All you're doing is putting your name at the top. Like all on the rest of the other 8 pages. You're just putting your name at the top and your date of birth. So then you get to page 9. Again, it's the summary, all to be signed by the provider. Basically, they ask them, do you applicant proof of identity provided? They're going to put yes, because in order to be seen there, you're going to have to show ID and you're going to pay. If you're using a card, they're going to check your ID. Then they ask them, do you think the certification is recommended, or do you think it's not recommended? Then why? Then they also ask them in that last section on page 9, they ask and C, they ask assessment. Like, do you think that their primary the preliminary screening indicates that the applicant is not of high risk of any condition that pose significant risk of sudden and complications or debilitating complications, to include uncontrolled sleep apnea or any other condition. And they can put yes or no. And if they put no, then they can need further review. They can put that. Then it also says, or entry level. So the best of your knowledge, is the manner applicable, free of any medical conditions, blah, 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 blah. And they can put yes, no, or further. And then on D, this part kind of confused me because my provider didn't put anything there. And y'all know me, I wanted to kind of put an A there. But again, none of this paperwork I'm supposed to be writing on. So, other than my name. So I left it blank. So cross your fingers. We'll find out if all that went through, because I've already emailed my med cert, and I also am going to also emailed it with the MMC, and on April 6th I also will be taking it in when I go to my rec. So it's going to process through. We'll be figuring it out, and I'll keep y'all up to date. Because I literally, while I was getting my physical, y'all, after they even said, are you okay? After my physical was done, they walk you to the receptionist to check out. Nothing to check out. You're just waiting for your doctor to bring your papers, and then you can leave. I sat down and went over all 10 of these papers, front to back, make sure she initialed everything, make sure she signed everything, make sure it is correct. It's easy to miss a little line. These providers see different paperwork all the time. And to me, my different provider, I don't think they were real familiar with this form. I don't think they were really familiar with it. Like, sometimes there's new providers that could be new in the system. So I sat there, because the researcher was like, are you okay? I said, yes, I'm just going over my forms. Yeah, I was about 10 minutes, y'all. I'm one of those. So I was looking, that questioned me. That section made me want to say, I don't know if y'all can see this at all, child. It made me want to say, it's a section here on page 9. It made me want to say, do she need to write something here? But I let that one go. Then they write their information. That's at the bottom. They write all the information. Then, okay, so this is what my provider did too on the E section on, I think that's 11. on section 11 where it says summary to complete by the medical provider, E, that's where they write their name, their signature, their street address, their license number, and all that good stuff. And then it's a portion where they need to stamp it, right? So they stamped it, and then and because she stamped it, she wrote her name, her last name, her license number, her state, and the date. But she didn't write the address because the stamp has the address. Well, guess what I did? I went and wrote that as a place. She was supposed to write. It's the same one that was on the stamp. That stamp goes here. I wrote it in because it needs to be there. Leave nothing blank. It would be, anybody who would be reviewing this would be common sense if the stamp it says, please office address stamp here. It's the office address stamp. But I don't leave anything blank. Providers are going to be lazy and they're not going to write all that. Then you sign this page. You sign and date that page. And then the next after that is optional. Now, we talked about this in video 2 about these optional pages. So it says applicant consent to be completed by the applicant is consent for a medical practitioner to release information to the Coast Guard. I just put decline because it's a decline. Remember we were talking about any declines that are over there. You'll see it here. And it's a little check. You put a little decline. I felt like I needed a decline there. And because I put decline, I didn't sign there or date. I believe I did do a whole bunch of NAs though. I'm one of those, y'all. And that's page 10 of 10. And that's the, basically that's the med cert. Again, it's another one that's very shorter, very, very minute information. It's just like the first, remember we went over the first 6 pages and I stopped. It's like that. It's like maybe 4 or 5 pages with just general information. That was 10 pages of stuff. I got a drink. Sorry. My little virgin pina colada is delish. So that is the med cert in a nutshell. When you go there, again, they're going to do the vitals. They're going to do the hearing, the vision. Very, very easy test. I had no problem acing them. Easiest test I took in my life. You heard me. Very quick for me. I told you I was on taking vitamins, things of that nature. Simple, simple, simple. They have you stand up. They have you touch your nose, touch your toes, hold your hands out, rub them, check your reflexes, hit your knee. To make you jump up and down and pat your head. No, they don't make you do that. But basically little stuff like that. They ask you, when I do this, do you feel this? Do you feel this? Where do you feel this at? Things of that nature. Very simple, just to make sure that you are able to tolerate whatever may come our way on board. You know, like, you got to make sure you can see. If you can't see, how you going to see what you're doing? Or anything. If you're supposed to be in the engine room doing some control, I mean, you know, doing anything, fix anything, and you can't see, how you going to do it? If you're a mate or somebody about to, you know, drive, basically, how can you do that? How can you do that if you can't see? You know, they want to make sure you're not colorblind to some extent. I don't know in depth, like if you have, I saw a video where a guy, well, it was actually, I was watching the video and it was a question. So I'll be reading the comments. They were asking, they were saying like, I'm colorblind to red and something else. Do you think I'll still be able to attain this certificate? And then the YouTuber, which was an honest answer, I don't know. You have to contact the Med Cert department and see what's the qualifications. It could be that, okay, you can't see yellow, but that's not bad. But red, you need to see red, you know, so I don't know. So it's things of that nature. So you just want to make sure that, again, that you're honest on everything, because they're gonna test you. They're gonna test you on your vision, your hearing, your sense of touch. They're also going to do a very small, quick physical as far as listening to your lungs. They kind of have you lay back. With this particular physical, they check for hernias. You know, they want to make sure nobody has a hernia. You could be gone for long. Sometimes those take surgery to remove. So they do press down on your abdominal. They ask you have any pain or anything like that. They pressed on mine. I was like, my bad. No, I did do that. But yeah, so that's what to be expected. This is post-COVID, so I was there waiting not too long. Like, I got in the first portion as far as your weight, your height, they do all that. Your weight, your height, they put your BMI, and the vision and the hearing, quick, boom. But you're gonna wait for the provider, and they do all the paperwork. So once you're done, that takes a little bit of time. Now you can get this done. Let's say you're wanting to do this, right? And let's say you're like me. I already had my TWIC, I already had my passport. Yes, I did. And I did my drug screen and I did my medical. I went and knocked that out. That's really all I had to do. But I knew I had to work on the application. That first form, I knew it was going to take me a while. And I didn't even notice I needed that notarized. That was my last thing I ended up doing. I didn't even know I needed that notarized. So once I knocked that out, I was like, I may as well just go ahead and send this form in. Because if there is an email that you can send that MedCert, do not send anything else with it, just that. You can send that on through. And I be calling them too, Jay. I be calling them. And they said, I didn't receive an email. They said with the it could take up MedCert, they give them up to 10 days. And then with the, the credentialing is supposed to be something in the system from in 5 days. If you don't hear anything in 5 days, that means it may not have went through. It might have been too large for one of your files or something like that. So make sure you stay in contact with them. Just keep checking, because if you're not, if you're new, you don't have like really a reference number. So you just say your social and that should pop up in the system. If you're not in there, then you're not in there. So in a nutshell, that's basically all with the, now making sure we didn't forget anything. All we have with the MedCert, okay, form CG719K. Again, there is another one, which is a smaller one that's less in detail, which I believe is just pretty much for food handlers. It doesn't, you still have to go into a medical provider, but I believe it'll be cheaper. My physical, they broke it down, I think it was 100 or either like 75 or something like that. Either 70, it was 100 for the actual physical, and then I think it was 50 for the vision and hearing. See how that adds on more money? But the vision and hearing is not on the other form. But again, I didn't want that to put me in a category where I can't get my 2-year MedCert, or that I have issues like, it was a real basic form just to kind of get you through. I didn't want to have basic. I'm not basic. Don't treat me like I'm average. Don't do that. So anyway, I'm going to be wrapping up this video. If you have any questions, any concerns, you want to know how mine went, if I got mine, leave it in the comments, and we'll go from there. Thank y'all for watching Sexy Tea TV. Follow, like, share.